What's going on, everybody? Well, we're working on part 2 here. We're gonna actually tear down this engine and get to working on the head gaskets. So that entails taking pretty much everything off of the engine except for the short block and replacing the head gaskets. So we're gonna get to it. First things first, we're gonna try to get the spark plugs out, and then all the clips, electronic clips that we can, we're just gonna clip them off. We're gonna try to take the whole crossover part on top off as one unit. So crossover, injectors, your fuel rails going across, a lot of that will just come right off, but we need to make sure that all the electronic connectors are off. So we're gonna go ahead and get to it. So we've already gone ahead and we've taken our flywheel and clutch off before we put it here on the engine stand. Makes it easier because we had the chain hooked up to our cross member, so, or our crossover. I can't have it hanging by the crossover because we have to take that off. So we have to have it on the engine stand. If you don't have an engine stand, a bench works fine. Hopefully it's a little less messy than that. But we're gonna go ahead, and this crossover is held in right here by a couple bolts, and we're gonna try to just get those bolts off. Take pretty much this whole top section off as one unit, so we don't have a whole bunch of unnecessary steps being done. So there's obvious things like this is connected up here, and you've got hoses, you've got your spark plugs that will come in through here, but like this actuator doesn't need to come off, and your throttle position and your throttle body doesn't have to come off, but it does have coolant hoses that are going to the block down below. So we do need to take those off on one side. I'm going to try to get them off of the bottom so they stay on the top, so there's not just a hose hanging onto the block when it's done. Again, I want to try to take as much of this off in one pull as I can and save us some time later, because the hoses will be kind of bent to where they need to go, and they'll just show us pretty much what needs to be reinstalled when we get done. So we'll go ahead, we'll start on spark plugs, make it easy, start on these bolts once we get done with that, and everything else that's connected to it. We're going ahead, we've got these taken out, and we've got most of our connectors. There's connectors right here, here. They're kind of everywhere within here. Got these ones taken off this bracket. There's a couple connectors in the back side and bolts. There's 4 bolts holding these sides on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we should be getting really close. We've got a couple hoses to take off, and that should be it. Well, there you have it. We got the whole crossover piece off with the chain on it. All of our little clips and random doodads, spark plugs, they're all still in place on the actual intake. So that's cool. It makes it easy for an install and easy to take off. I'll have to do some cleaning up. These gaskets are junk now. So we'll clean those up and probably clean up inside there because they're kind of gross. But now we're moving on to the engine. Getting actually all this work done for this little guy right here. That's all that's the problem right here. A $50 gasket and all this trouble. So we're gonna go ahead and fix these gaskets, pull off the heads, but to do that, first we gotta pull off our timing cover, all of our timing stuff, and then we'll be able to break these valve covers off. Pull the valve covers off, and then we'll be able to actually pull the head off and get into this engine. Gone ahead and we've got that timing cover off. We've actually taken the timing belt and all the pulleys and stuff off. If you start with this pulley that's right here, it has the least amount of slack on it. It comes around this and comes down and goes around here. Has the least amount of slack on it. You start with that one, take that off, and it'll give you enough slack to take basically the belt off if you need to. I took this one off. Made it real easy. Take the whole thing off, take these two off, and then you take the whole belt off and work on this pulley idler, and then this is your belt tensioner right up here. So got all those off, got our main cam gears off. So now we're gonna go ahead and pop these valve covers off and then try to get these heads off of here. Well, I have been doing honestly a completely horrendous job of trying to keep you guys updated with where we're at. So this is the state of the engine right now. We managed to get the heads off, 6 bolts. When you take them off, this is a single overhead cam, so it's only got one camshaft gear for your timing gear. So it makes it easy because you don't have to take your camshaft completely out, unbolt your camshaft and do all that. You not just undo the 6 bolts holding your head on. To do that, do quarter turns at a time in your pattern for how you tighten it. Loosen it in the same pattern or the opposite pattern, but do it quarter turns at a time till they get loose, and then you can completely back them all the way out and then take the head off. Got those off, got them cleaned. Was messing around, got the oil pan off, and I managed to find a bunch of metal shavings inside the oil pan. Never a good situation to be in when you find that much metal shavings. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So here's all the metal shavings that were in the bottom of that oil pan, and they're pretty good size. There's my fingernail. So I mean, that's a pretty good size on a lot of these metal shavings. And that's just what we found. So here's the engine all flipped upside down, and something that caught my eye, or my ear I guess, is when you're flipping it over, you're turning your engine over, there's an audible thump. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. I don't know if the camera will actually pick it up, but there it was. So you can kind of hear it, and you can hear it more when you're when you wiggle the engine back and forth. So we've got a failure somewhere in here where it's causing that audible noise as well as all the shavings. So we're gonna go ahead and actually break this block in half and tear into the connecting rods and see what the main bearings are actually doing, because that's a lot of shavings to have in an engine bay. And another thing is that they're all aluminum, because I've got a magnet here, but none of them stick to the magnet. So that means that they're all aluminum, part of the block or something else. Now with it not being magnetic, that means that it's not ferrous or iron, so it's one of your other metals. Well, a lot of bearings are made out of your coppers or they're tri-metals, zincs and stuff like that that's non-metallic or non-ferrous, excuse me. so they won't be picked up by magnets. So we're gonna go ahead and check the main bearings on this and see how bad it is. We're in it this far, you might as well throw $20 worth of main bearings at it. Well, hopefully you guys found that useful, helpful in any way. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe. As always, take it easy, everyone. Peace.
Yard sale.
There goes all those bolts that are disorganized.